Say India is 10 years behind US, 5 years behind China. I think the next decade is going to be of India. If you ask me in 10 years, we would have 15 to 20 decacons in India.
皆さんこんにちは。世界のスタートアップ情報を発信するスタートアップバックパッカーです。会社を辞めてバックパッキングしながら各国のスタートアップや VC に取材しています。今回の動画ではインド現地のベンチャーキャピタルにインドでのスタートアップ投資のマーケットに関するお話と、特にどういったところがインドのスタートアップ投資で穴場になっているのかみたいなところをお話しします。最近は日本の VC だとか企業もインドのスタートアップを見て投資するような流れが来ています。海外への、インドへの投資だとかを考えている人だとか、もしくはインドで起業されて、インドの投資を受けたい方とか、もしくは単純にインドのスタートアップについて気になるような方がいればですね、非常に面白い内容になっておりますので、ぜひ最後までご視聴ください。Let's go.
So now I'm with Navin, the managing partner of Elevate Venture Partners.
I have been doing professionally only one thing all my life, which is investing into unlisted technology companies in India. I started Elevate about a year back. That's when I formally commenced operations. We're a target $200 million growth fund, mostly focused on investing in growth stage companies in India. This is largely called Series B, Series C investing.
Is there a reason why you started a growth fund? Like I know you were in the early stage investment for a long time, right?
There's a reason. That's a good question. And the reason is largely because of a pain point that I had in my previous company, K Capital. K Capital used to do mostly seed stage investing. All equity shareholders in India have a certain right called as a preemptive right, which gives them access to investing in future rounds or subsequent rounds of fundraise of their portfolio company. In K Capital, we had about 10 to 12 winning companies from our portfolio. We missed out on investing about $200 million of pro rata right in our winning portfolio companies in Series B, Series C rounds of financing. And that for me was too big to be missed. Had we invested capital at that stage, the value of that 200 million could have potentially been $1 billion today. When I looked around, I saw multiple seed funds like K Capital not investing into their pro rata opportunities in their winning portfolio company. And that's when I thought that, it's a great idea to probably set up India's first pro rata fund, which would partner with all of India's leading seed funds and super angels and invest using their preemptive rights in the winning companies of their portfolio. When I looked at markets like US and Europe, there were quite a few analogies of funds subscribing to pro rata rights of seed funds and investing, but there was none in India. That was my aha moment when I thought of moving out to set up Elevate, which along with being a growth stage fund is also India's first pro rata fund.
So how are you actually able to invest into these, big prominent companies in India?
So yes, we are tech focused, sector agnostic. We'll be focused on investing into consumer internet, enterprise software, B2B and fintech. These are the four sectors that we'll be looking to invest in. The strategy boils down to three things eventually that we look at while investing in a company. One is the quality of the founder. Second is how large the market is. And third, what is the value prop or differentiation that the company has, or what are the moats that they have built in the business. These are the three key parameters that we look at while investing into any company.
Do you see any trend or any focus, any industry you're focusing on right now?
Within the four, if I had to pick, we would be focusing mostly on software companies, SaaS, and the other would be fintech.
Yeah, I heard about SaaS being it's a recent trend, I believe, in India. Do you find it that way? Because what I heard was for B2C, it's people found out that it's very hard to actually monetize. And is that the reason why you're looking in SaaS, or is it?
So I think, that as well as a couple of other reasons. Largely till 2017-18, software companies were built in India to sell overseas and largely the US market, because US as a market is a large consumption of software businesses. Right? Most of it changed after 2018-19 in India, post-COVID as well. Indian soft companies, both corporates, large corporates and SMEs, started to pay for software. And which is why today there are quite a few companies in India, software companies, who are focused on only selling to Indian corporates and SMEs. And these companies have gotten to a scale of 30, 40, 50 million dollars of annualized revenue. If you would have asked me, would this be the case 3, 4 years back, I would have said no chance. But the market has expanded rapidly even in India. SMEs and corporates have understood how to consume software. Besides India, some of our portfolio companies look to expand overseas, including the likes of Southeast Asia and Middle East, which are still early markets for adoption of software. But that's when the real fun lies, right? When you can get into a market or a geography early on and help grow and build along with the market, rather than focusing on a saturated market, let's say like the US.
For many SaaS companies, like what I heard was that they're looking very globally now, and that's like a trend too.
Yes.
Do you see that trend too? Like,
Yes, absolutely. There have been large companies like Freshdesk, Soho, created in India, where I'm assuming significant portion of their revenue is coming from US customers. So that continues to be a strong trend as well. There's a company called Postman, which has significant portion of their revenues from US.
May I know more about, like, from a growth stage investor perspective, the advantages of investing in Indian companies now as a growth stage company, and maybe some difficulties or struggles as like a growth stage investor?
Yeah, I think it has largely got to do with the current vintage. If you look at the vintage of 2021, 2022, growth stage investment was pretty buoyant. Yes, in any geography that you see globally, you'll have far many more early stage investors than growth stage investors. Because it's a funnel which has happened, right? But in India, it has become in the sort of an hourglass, wherein at an early stage, there are quite a few fund managers, GPs, whom you would have met in this trip. But when you look at growth stage investments, the number of investors have significantly reduced, right? And then again, there are quite a few investors at late stage investing. Most of the capital which is to come into growth stage in India was largely global FDI. It's been 18 months that this capital has dried up, but this presents an opportunity for homegrown Indian fund managers or GPs like Elevate as well, right? To invest and into this sector. My vision is that over the next 8 to 10 years, there will be an Indian GP who would be leading investments at growth stage in India, right? Unlike what happened in 21, 22. So yes, I think if you ask me, supply has significantly dried up, but that's the opportunity that we see as well, right? Of being able to invest in some high quality companies. You asked me what is the challenge. I would say challenge could be around how large is the market that of the company that we are looking to invest in. Traditionally, yes, if you look at in India, there is only one decacorn, right? Flipkart. Compare that to US and China, which would have 10x more decacorns than in India. But the intent is how this would change over the next 10 years. And that's where the excitement lies as well. If you ask me, in 10 years, we would have 15 to 20 decacorns in India. And that's the most exciting part.
And do you see more homegrown local investors emerging?
Absolutely. That's what we are seeing. At this point of time, there are far and few, but yeah, absolutely. In the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a far more homegrown fund managers.
It would be really nice if I could know more on your future goals and prospects and how you wish the Indian startup ecosystem would change over the years.
So if you ask me how is it going to change, this is a question that we get very often, right? Are we close to saturation? I don't think we are anywhere close to saturation. As they say, India is 10 years behind US, 5 years behind China. I think the next decade is going to be of India. We would see over 100, 200 companies going public. We would see over 15 to 20 decacorns coming out of India. We would see tech companies getting into the NSE list as of top 50 companies of most valued by market cap in India. So in my opinion, it's going to be a multi-sector, multi-decade growth story of tech investing into India. You'll see a lot more of Indian family offices and HNIs invest in this asset class. Traditionally, these investors have invested anywhere between 1 to 3% of their net worth. You will see investors now in India investing double-digit stake of their net worth into alternate investment class in India, right? That will propel the entire ecosystem. Banks and insurance companies are still shy of investing in this asset class, and because of which there are very, very few institutions focused on investing in AIF. A lot of that will change in the next 5 years. This will be coupled by changes in regulations as well by the Reserve Bank of India and Securities Exchange Board of India towards promoting local capital to be invested into funds, right? If you look at government, they have set up 2 fund of funds largely focused on investing into early and growth stage tech companies in India.
If there's any like connections or information you'd be looking for from Japan, that would be really nice.
Oh, absolutely. I've never visited Japan. I'll be looking to make my trip to Japan sometime later this year. And yes, absolutely looking to connect with a few corporates and institutions in Japan who would love to invest in India.
So yeah, if you're interested, please contact him on through the LinkedIn link. Thank you so much, Navin. It was great talking with you.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
今回は結構専門的なスタートアップの話にはなってたと思うんですけど、で投資の話なんですけど、特にやっぱりそのインドはスタートアップ投資がまだ足りてないということで結構海外に今まで依存してたんですけど、 最近市況が冷え込んで、海外からの VC とかもちょっと減っちゃったというので、結構困ったりはしてたりはするので、そこで例えば、資金を持っているような、日本の企業とか投資家が入り込んで、穴場のグロースステージで、投資するみたいなことも、これから、リターンを出していく上で、良い考え方なのかなと思います。で、実際に今回話してた内容でも、インドの市場が、もうすでに成熟してるんじゃないのみたいなこともよく聞かれるけど、やっぱり全然まだまだ成熟してなくて、本当にどんどんこれからも、それフィンテックだとか、法人向けのソフトウェアとかで、どんどんまだまだ伸びる市場はたくさんあるという話だったので、そういった意味でも、インドはまだまだ成長するのかなと思います。実際は GDP の成長も全然止まってないんで、もうずっと6、7%とかで伸び続けているような国なんで、もし、インドで投資されたい方とか、興味があるような方がいれば、情報共有とかも喜んでしますので、お気軽に私の方にご連絡いただければと思います。はい、今回は以上になります。こういった有益なスタートアップ情報をどんどん流しておりますので、ぜひチャンネル登録いただけると嬉しいです。ありがとうございました。